When men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and that they took them as wives of all which they chose. There were giants on the earth in those days, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men. The sons of Anak, we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Professional athletes are rare to come by, but NBA players are arguably the rarest type of athlete on planet Earth. There are only 450 active roster spots in the NBA, out of supposedly almost 8 billion people on Earth. The average height for an NBA player is nearly 6'5", while the average height for a normal man is 5'7", almost a full foot difference. Add on top of the fact, basketball players are known for their swift movement on the court and explosive leaping ability, doing things no average man could dream of doing. With all this being said, could it be possible that NBA players are the descendants of biblical giants called the Nephilim? Did they once roam North America? New York State? Does Kevin Durant have Nephilim DNA? Or is he the representation of these biblical giants in the NBA's larger occult storyline? We will be trying to uncover these mysteries today. Hello, and welcome to Sports Vaults, presented by Data Productions, uncovering the untold, lost, and forgotten files of the sports world. Nephilim in the Hebrew Bible are a group of mysterious beings or people of unusually large size and strength who lived both before and after the flood. The Nephilim are referenced in Genesis and Numbers and are possibly referred to in Ezekiel. The Hebrew word Nephilim is sometimes directly translated as giants or taken to mean the fallen ones, from the Hebrew nephal, to fall. But the identity of the Nephilim is debated by scholars. Given the ambiguity of the Genesis passage, there are several interpretations about the relationship between the sons of God and the Nephilim. Some have understood the sons of God to be fallen angels, and the Nephilim are the offspring they produced with the human women. This view was described in the first book of Enoch, a non-canonical Jewish text, and remains a popular explanation. The first book of Enoch also notes that the Nephilim were giants, which seems in accordance with the people of great size described in the Numbers passage. The apparent giganticism of the Nephilim is argued to stem from their supernatural origin, though some have countered that it is theologically problematic to suggest that angels or demons, as purely spiritual beings, could physically reproduce with humans. A less supernatural view holds that the Nephilim were simply men who fell away from righteousness. Specifically, some theologians have held that sons of God is a reference to the descendants of Seth, the righteous son of Adam, and that the Nephilim were members of his bloodline who rejected God. This view, known as the Sethian view, was held by St. Augustine and other church fathers as well as many Jewish theologians. The Sethian view sometimes elaborated with the assertion that the daughters of men were the ungodly women of the bloodline of Cain, Adam's murderous son, with the Nephilim as mere humans. Their great size is variously taken literally or metaphorically, though they were undoubtedly considered great warriors. Now let's talk about the giants of New York. Around the turn of the 19th century, claims from reputable sources said that they unearthed giant skeletons from ancient burial mounds across America. Human giants roaming the land are not entirely a product of legend in our history. The Northeast and Midwest seem to have been a hotbed for these large mound burials. Remember, this is all speculation and personal interpretation. I can neither approve or debunk any claims I make or share. This video is purely for education and entertainment purposes. Since we are focusing on Kevin Durant and his Nephilim ties, we will be focusing on the New York Giants, not the football team, the actual ancient biblical giants. The first discovery of what may have been actual proof of the Nephilim's existence happened in 1705. Massachusetts Puritan Cotton Mather strongly believed that bones found near Albany, New York, actually belonged to giants who died in Noah's flood. Paleontologists later debunked this claim when it was proven that the bones actually belonged to a mastodon. For centuries, fossilized remains of large animals such as elephants, giant sloths, and bison have been mistaken for giants, But for some, that still doesn't dispel their supposed existence. When the Europeans arrived, Western New York was littered with the works of earlier people. Stone walls, graded roads, fortifications were reported, though most commonly, these markers were earthen mounds or enclosures. The Native Americans seldom had any tradition about the people who had put them in place. Historians now believe that the influence of the Mississippian mound builder culture was behind them. T. Apollyon Chaney notes in illustrations of the ancient monuments in western New York that a 12-foot-high elliptical mound above Cataratas County's Conewango Valley held 8 big skeletons. Most crumbled, but a thigh bone was found to be 28 inches long. 2 very bizarre skulls were taken in the early 1820s from a mound on Tonawanda Island near Buffalo. In 1871, an archaeological dig at a Native American burial ground unearthed 200 giant skeletons, some measuring up to 9 feet tall. It was also estimated that the remains could have been up to 9,000 years old. At the time, the discovery of these remains was widely reported in the media, but today, the remains have disappeared. You could even find giants of stone in New York. In the fall of 1869, a farmer named Stub Newell asked some neighbors to come over to help dig a well on his property in upstate New York, near the tiny town of Cardiff. When they broke ground not far beneath the surface, they hit something hard. The giant weighed almost 3,000 pounds and was 10 feet tall. It was named the Cardiff Giant. After some months, apparently George Hall, Newell's cousin, had heard a Protestant preacher talking about the biblical account of giants roaming the earth and seeing an opportunity. In secret, he had the giant made from a giant block of gypsum, arranged for it to be buried on Newell's land. Okay, this story of why this giant was made is as weird as this whole topic itself. Why would anybody spend the time to do this? In a lot of cases, giants have normally been seen as the kings of their day, ruling over their domain, being that they had supernatural powers as compared to the average human. The first mention of giants in the Bible come in Genesis chapter 6. The next mention was in Numbers chapter 13. Now let's connect Kevin Durant to this Nephilim narrative. He signed with the Nets on July 7th, 2019, and tweeted Nephilim out on August 28th, which was a 7-week and 3-day span, which could be looked at as 73. 73 is important because in the first book of Enoch, the Ethiopic edition, the first mention of giants comes in chapter 7, stanza 3. It reads, "And the women became pregnant, and they bare large giants, whose height was 3,000 cubits, or ells." Why is the first book of Enoch important? It was discovered in the 18th century and is part of the oldest Bible in existence that was found at an Ethiopian monastery. This ancient Bible was written in an ancient dead language of Ethiopia, and it's nearly 800 years older than the King James Version, and it contains 81 to 88 books as compared to 66. Unfortunately, the King James Version leaves out the Book of Enoch. Many believe one Enoch, the Ethiopic Enoch, was a big influence on the New Testament. Many key concepts used by Jesus Christ himself seem directly connected to terms and ideas of the Book of Enoch. Recent discoveries of copies of the book among the Dead Sea Scrolls found at Qumran proved the book was in existence before the time of Jesus Christ. One Enoch is a compilation of several separate works, most of which are apocalyptic. Kevin Durant's birth date of September 29th, 1988 to his Nephilim tweet of August 28th, 2019 was a span of 370 months, not unlike 37. After all that we have learned today with the Nephilim in New York, maybe the New York Giants weren't named after skyscrapers after all. But at the end of the day, we may never find the true answer to that question. What's your take on this topic? Do you think Kevin Durant is a legit offspring of Nephilim or just a representation? Let me know your thoughts below in the comments, like and subscribe for more investigation content like this. Join my Patreon today for only $5 to receive a monthly esoteric documentary on your favorite sports athletes and events. Real, raw, uncut, and uncensored without the limitations of YouTube. Join today to see the other side of the sports world.